Hopefully I'm not going to look like a big loser when it airs. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay, so I am hearing that you're picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win.
Yes. Yes, Chiefs, for sure.
I don't know who's going to win, so I'm not going to predict that. But I am going to say that I hate the 49ers.
Welcome to the podcast where we talk about cannabis.
Community violation. Code Green Plant.
Hi, and welcome to Code Green Plant. I'm your host, Christy Chanel, and I am here with Phoebe James, and it feels like forever, Phoebe.
It has been forever.
Yeah, I think I say that now every time because it's forever every time now. We're taking little breaks in the middle, and I think it's actually been a good thing because we come together and we have so much more to talk about. So how have you been? I
went to Kansas. I got a new Kansas City.
Okay.
Got a new Chiefs shirt. Since it is, yeah, I'll be wearing this for Super Bowl Sunday.
I thought about wearing my Dallas Cowboy jersey today, but I'm like, it's after the Super Bowl when this will air, so there's no need.
Hopefully I'm not going to look like a big loser when it airs. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay, so I am hearing that you're picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win.
Yes. I was hoping the Lions would get in, and then I would be pretty torn because I'm a Chiefs fan, but some of my family are Lions fans, and I was actually like, I might actually root for them. They've never won. That'd be a pretty cool moment, but since they didn't make it in, yes, Chiefs for sure.
I don't know who's going to win, so I'm not going to predict that, but I am going to say that I hate the 49ers. I do not like them at all. They kicked my team's ass, so I'm going to have to go Taylor Swift, Kansas City. My sister-in-law, Julie, was an old Kansas City cheerleader. So she's got all that stuff popping and she's like super excited, and she has her profile picture now is, an old cheerleading picture. That's so cool just to have that kind of tie and connection to a team like that.
That is neat.
I always wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Unfortunately, I never had the body for it.
I've seen some pretty thick cheerleaders, so I don't know how you'd say. I guess maybe back then.
I'm old, Phoebe, so that would have been back in the skinny, model-esque days. Plus, have you seen their uniforms?
Yes.
There's nothing. You can't pad or hide anything in that outfit. Not at all.
No, there's no filters in real life.
Yeah, maybe in my 50s, I can get a killer body one day. Maybe 60s, that could happen, and I'll wear a Dallas Cowboy cheerleading outfit.
I think you can wear one now. What are you talking about?
You do see me, right? No,
I'm just saying.
No, I couldn't. I could wear one that was like a big long shirt, and then it had the actual, those pajama shirts or whatever, and they have the body painted onto the shirt.
Yeah,
I could do that.
You could do that, but haven't you heard thick thighs save lives, Christy?
I hadn't, but
it's finally big girl season. Big girls are in now. You didn't know that?
I like that, and I'll tell you what, I don't care if there was a magic drug on the market that could get me to be like super rail skinny. I don't think I ever would want to be. I just, I think that women are beautiful with their curves, and you know what I mean. I think it's prettier. That's my personal opinion. I mean, obviously everybody has their own taste, but for me and you, Phoebe, we're about it.
If I was a man, I would date me. I would love to cuddle up to me if I was a man.
Exactly. Because I know my man, I don't want a skinny ass man.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. So I want a guy that can make me feel, safe and a dad bod. I'm all about the dad bod.
I'm okay.
Personally.
Well, my husband has one, so of course I'm okay with it. I'm rather partial to them.
You ready to do burning topics, Phoebe?
I'm so ready. I've been ready for weeks now.
Burning topic. So what's your burning topic today?
It's been so long since we talked. I feel like I have 3 different things I want to talk about, and any one of them could be a burning topic, honestly.
Hit me.
So Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, did I call him Kim? He doesn't deserve the title Kim. Ken Paxton sues 5 cities over marijuana policies preventing enforcement of Texas drug laws. So our Attorney General is suing municipalities over them loosening marijuana laws.
Wow.
I already don't like the man. I don't know if you're very familiar with him or follow him politically.
Not really.
Ken Paxton. He's been the Attorney General. He was actually impeached this past year. He went up for impeachment and he was acquitted, but that doesn't mean he didn't really do what they said. So it's just like, really, guy, this is what you go and do, but then you want to. Yeah, so let me give you a little more information. He launched lawsuits against the cities of Austin, San Marcos, Killeen, Elgin, and Denton for adopting amnesty and non-prosecution policies that violate Texas laws concerning marijuana possession and distribution.
What is his gain here? Is he trying to make another run here? Because
he's a lifetime, he wants to be a lifetime politician. So, but I don't know how he thinks these policies are the ones, but I know these are more progressive cities in Texas. Yeah. They're more left leaning. And so he's super conservative. And so he just wants to go after. And I wonder if they're connecting and saying that this could have something to do with his impeachment because, the way that different people were voting, the people that represent these districts were probably not voting in his favor. So it could even be a little bit of retribution. I don't know.
I'm just, it's like you want to get into the mind of somebody who thinks this is okay. What could their reasoning be? Because I can't believe that it could be because it's hurting people.
It's not. And then the voters in these districts were like greatly in favor of these policies. And so he's spending our money, obviously it's taxpayer money, to sue counties in our own state basically for them going and voting on things that they want in their district. He's saying, no, you can't go and vote on that because Texas says no. Yeah.
So internally, the cities are now having to fight our own state.
Yes. So in 2022, voters in 5 cities, those 5 I named, Austin, San Marcos, Killeen, Elgin, and Denton, we're very close to Denton too.
I'm in Crum right now, so that is down the street.
But in 2022, voters in those cities approved policies that would end arrests and citations for possession of less than 4 ounces of marijuana. The initiative was spearheaded by Ground Game Texas, a progressive group that first launched the proposition in Austin, and they work with local organizations in those other 4 cities and succeeded in pushing for similar policies on all those ballots. And the voters in those districts had high support. I mentioned that. So Austin had 85% of votes in support of that policy. San Marcos, 82%. Elgin, 75%. Denton had about 71% and Killeen 70%. So far majority in those districts support the policies that they enacted. And he's coming in and suing them for basically using their right to vote and decide to, they didn't change the whole state policy.
That is just disheartening. Honestly, the people have spoken.
Yeah.
The people have spoken. And he's coming in and saying, I don't care what you say. You're wrong. I'm right. And I'm going to take you down as best he can. I don't think he will win. What do you think? Do you think he'll win?
I don't know. I mean, this is Texas, and it's hard to say. If he does win, I could see it making its way, through appeals, and it could be something that ends up in front of the Supreme Court. I don't know. You never know. I think either side, I feel like, would probably appeal, and we'll see what happens with something like this. But it's crazy that we have leaders in Texas going so far the opposite direction of the rest of the country, and a lot of countries, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, it is. It's like I keep waiting for Texas to be like, you know what, you guys are all right. We're going to listen to the people and and actually do something about these archaic laws and things that are happening. I mean, we're not the only state, but I feel like Texas is a leader in certain ways that other states typically follow in that realm. Not all.
Like we
Florida
are. And some. Yeah. And we're also like archaic. Yeah, you're right.
And we're archaic.
States on almost every side of us, it's legal now, other than they're on, it just depends on the east side of us. I don't think they are, but on the west, like New Mexico, Colorado, you got Oklahoma above us, you got Missouri over here, cat corner,
that actually brings up another thing, and I am probably not the best person to speak on it, but I have watched a few things about it that I think, since we're talking about Texas being a leadership state and people and states tend to follow the same pattern, that have the same similar beliefs as our government.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's happening is Texas is standing up against Biden and with our border.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious how you felt about it. I've been watching it, and I feel like if I'm correct in what I've seen, which is them saying they're not against them coming over through Texas border, they're against them coming through without being checked, without having their IDs and knowing who they are and that type of thing. And so they're just trying to push them to a certain spot so that they can be checked before they enter because of all the terrorists and things like that going on. If that indeed is what's happening, I'm for it. If that is not truly what's happening and they're putting a blanket over the truth, I'm not for it. So I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of news stations and things like that will tend to push you in the direction that they feel and not necessarily a fair and honest depiction of what's happening. So what, do you have any opinions on this?
I actually, because I don't know the details on what the fight is about. I mean, what, I guess I should say in a detailed manner what they're doing, Texas. I just know that Texas has always been for strong borders. It's kind of funny when the story I just said was the Attorney General of Texas suing counties because they're going against state law. And here we are as Texas, a state, we're going against federal law. And we're like, oh, you don't get to tell us what to do. We're an independent state. Well, what about these counties? Like, kind of funny when you think about that.
No, it is.
Kind of about face, like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and so
that's the hypocrisy of politics today and every day. Just hypocrisy of people in general.
It made me think about, though, because we had talked about Texas being the leader in a lot of things and how other states have come to back this situation and saying, you know, we're going to help you do that. And right now the government is winning this battle because they've cut down all the wire that Texas had put up. But I mean, they're still fighting, and this is an ongoing story. And obviously when the result of this story ends, because it's going to keep going for a long time, we'll share it here, just like the outcome of these cities that are fighting.
Yeah. And so, and the thing about the border, I don't know if I'm for strong or what I'm for, but I would say I'm for Texas being able to decide what Texas wants to do with their own borders. I would say it'd be hard for me to say, no, I'm real in favor of the federal government on this. Like, it's Texas's, their physical borders. It's not just an ideology. It's like Texas's physical borders. If they want to put something up, you know, that's what they want to do. And so we're saying they, but we live here. It's just it's not what we personally would choose.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why it's hard for me to find the fault in this whole scenario. I feel like I back my state, and I'm kind of proud of my state for that. If they could just get on board with the other things that I feel they should, it would be a really great place to live in that stands for freedom. What was your other hot topic? I want to know them all. I mean, we're here. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the one I wanted to talk about him. And I mean, before we move on, I just want to circle back and say that, you know, I am about politics. And this is something that I said, I'm probably from every episode this year, I'm probably going to have something to talk about related to it. With the elections coming up, a lot's happening.
Sure.
And like we've talked about, when we get closer to the elections, we're going to start having coverage of the different candidates and what they, you know, are in favor of and what they'd vote for, because we want everybody to know who they're voting for. And it's hard to find the truth out there. So we're going to help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm probably going to get totally railed for this, but I don't follow politics that die hard where I'm like, I know every single thing about it. And, you know, I'm thankful that I have somebody like you here, part of this podcast, that can actually share some things that maybe it would open my eyes to things too. I think we share similar beliefs and views on a lot of the things that we talk about. So I'm very excited. I'm anxious to hear. I'm very excited to hear some of the takes that you find that go along with what's about to happen as far as cannabis laws and everything else that goes with it. And not just cannabis laws. When we're talking about a representative and who's running, we're going to be talking about everything they stand for. And that some of that may not be in the same area that we agree with.
Yeah,
even if they're for cannabis.
That's what I was going to say. And then we're going to have trouble of like, well, they're maybe for cannabis, but they have some other stuff over here that's like, ugh. I want to give everybody that information so you can decide, like, well, which is more important, which is more weighted for me. Yeah, so this is one I had mentioned to you and just in passing, but we didn't really go into detail. I think we probably were saving it for this. But
Okay.
a California woman that stabbed her boyfriend to death, but she only got 2 years probation and 100 hours community service. Can you imagine a reason why that would happen?
No, let me
Stabbed her
play
boyfriend
it.
108 times.
Rage in California after that woman right there, convicted of stabbing her boyfriend to death, only gets a slap on the wrist. She faced the possibility of life in prison for stabbing him 108 times. But the judge ruling that she had no self-control while in a cannabis-induced psychosis. Todd Pyro is live in the studio with the shocking details. Todd.
This is a head-scratcher, Ainsley. The judge is sentencing 32-year-old Bryn Speecher to 100 hours of community service, 2 years probation, and the big one, no jail time. She broke down in tears after a jury convicted her of involuntary manslaughter last month. California judge claims she had no control over her actions after stabbing the victim, Chad O'Meala, 108 times. Psychiatrists in the case claim the incident was, quote, 100% caused by cannabis-induced psychosis after the 32-year-old took 2 hits from the victim's bong. She expressed remorse during closing statements, saying, quote, I wish I had known more about the dangers of marijuana. Had I known, I would never have smoked it that night or at all. O'Malia's family shocked and angry over the sentencing yesterday. The victim's father accusing the judge of being biased, saying, quote, he just gave everyone in the state of California who smokes marijuana a license to kill someone. The woman and the victim were dating for only a few weeks before his death in 2018. Police arrived on scene to find Speecher in a pool of blood near the victim's body. She also attempted to stab herself in the neck before being taken away by police. Speecher's attorney says this case should serve as a warning against the use of potent marijuana. Back over to you, Ainsley.
I can't even believe what I just heard.
Isn't that wild?
How can they justify that finding?
I don't
Justify
know.
that finding. That is the hot topic for today.
I know. I don't understand. Like, you know what? Oh, I'm always, you know me, I can come up with a conspiracy theory in a minute. But
yeah,
but
I already know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead, say it.
This had to have been like, somebody had to have got some really great lawyers. They had to have had a lot of money and got some really great lawyers. And this, I mean, because it's almost like a campaign against marijuana different. In a way. I'm thinking like, but I'm thinking it's like on a like, I mean, big money to get good lawyers when I'm saying it way above her pay grade. Like, I think someone came in privately and was like, we're about to fund the shit out of this because we want to push and say that marijuana is bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going conspiracy what like that.
That's exactly what I think. I think that this is not premeditated, but I feel like they saw it as an opportunity to change the mind of everybody.
Marijuana's the boogeyman again. Marijuana's the boogeyman.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it made this poor little girl just snap and kill a guy. What could it do to your kid?
2 hits off a bong, Phoebe. Give me a break.
I can't believe it. I am shook still. I cannot believe it.
The fact that this could stand. I mean, did they get people and experts and test out the theory of giving somebody 2 bong hits and seeing what happens when they have 2 bong hits? This is more than the bong hit. This is about the person. The person. I can't. This pisses me off, Phoebe, because now it's going to set us back.
Isn't it? It's going to set us back. It's a big concern. It's a big concern. Like, this is bad. And it says testimony showed she stabbed him more than 100 times and also stabbed herself. So I guess when the police were coming to start arresting her, she started stabbing herself in the neck. But to me, like...
unless they're supporting cases of this happening and we're not in the know. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to ride the line for just a half a second because I'm 100% on this is not right. This is
no, she should go to prison for that. That's murder. Exactly. I mean, it can be like 2nd degree or 3rd degree, you know, whatever the degrees are, to where maybe she or even maybe insanity, but I don't think it's a marijuana. It was only marijuana. If she hadn't have hit the bong 2 times, like, I'm not buying that.
I don't buy it either. And even if marijuana did that to every single person that smoked 2 hits of a bong, it's still our choice to take the hit of the bong, just like it's our choice to make that action that happened. So it's still all 100% her, even if there's their defense theory held, which I'm just blown away that it did.
Well, now that I think about it, how is this any different than when someone kills someone in a drunk driving accident? They were drunk. They were under control. Like, yeah, no shit. But they decided to go and do that. So now you take the consequences.
There you go.
Period.
Yeah.
So same thing.
So I think there's a bigger picture here.
There was definitely an ulterior motive to this one. Yeah.
Putting it out there. And when did this happen? Was this just fairly recently?
Well, she was recently convicted. So it actually happened back in 2018. And she just was recently. So the sentence was handed down nearly 4 years after it happened, after the crime actually took place. So the sentence was just handed down in January. So, like I said, I've been sitting on some of these hot topics because we haven't talked.
Yeah.
And I think this is one that broke like the day after our last taping. And I'm like, oh, and I actually almost forgot about it. But I had made a note. I had started keeping notes since we don't meet as often. So, yeah.
Okay.
So it just happened. Like she was just, the trial ended in the end of January. Did you hear about porn star Jessie Jane dying?
I did.
Also a couple weeks ago at the end of January.
Yeah, I did.
I wanted to talk about that one just because like that is...
Yeah, and it involved an overdose, I guess, her and her boyfriend, and that his work, he didn't show up for work, so his work did a welfare check on him, and they found them both there. They think it's for days, not just right away. They found them. So, and it had to do with drugs. They didn't do a toxicology report, or they haven't released one.
They haven't released it yet.
Yeah.
But I think that they're saying because she had some issues with drugs. And I feel like I've even read it before, but I know my mind, the first thing I thought when I heard it was just, this has to be fentanyl related. Like what they were taking had to have been laced for them both to have passed away like that. I think it's like, I feel like we got to wait and see what it comes out as, but I think that's what it's going to be for sure.
It seems
and it was
to be
local, like they lived in Oklahoma. This was in Moore, Oklahoma.
It's hitting all areas of, the community. It's scary. This fentanyl thing is scary.
It is. Yeah. And I want to say their names. And because I feel like Jessie Jane is someone that people would easily, hear that on the news and be like, oh, porn star, like not process it or try to. But that's how people do. They compartmentalize things like, oh, well, that wouldn't affect me because I'm not that person. But it's like, no, she was an actual person. Her real name was, let's see her, Cindy Taylor. And I believe she was from Oklahoma. And like when I heard of it happening, I knew of her. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Jessie Jane. Like I felt sad because I used to hear her on the radio. I've always kind of been a fan of talk radio. And I remember her being on Howard Stern. I remember her being on Pugs and Kelly, which was a local radio show I loved. And so I knew her as like a person and I was a fan of her. I never watched her porn. I'm not into porn, but I knew she was very successful at it. She had a successful career and she was a very nice person, and I want to say that her and her boyfriend, Brett Hassemuller, they were people and they had families and now neither one of them are here, most likely because of something we've talked about on the podcast before.
Yeah. And I'd like to say something about the porn aspect of it. People can look down at other people, but really a lot of people have an OnlyFans account. Okay. She was a porn star when porn star was not cool. Okay. Exactly. That's the difference here. Now it seems like it's cool for people to go on OnlyFans and do their thing and make their money. And I don't have a problem with it. Hey, get your bag. Right. I really don't. It's your body. You choose to do what you want with it. But it's the same thing. So you can't throw, darts at her for having that type of career when it's happening all the time now. Fentanyl strikes again. Possibly. We don't know for sure if it was fentanyl.
I mean, and we'll definitely update. And if we hear that it wasn't, we will let you know. We're not going to say like, let's put it under the rug because we were wrong. If we're wrong, we'll say it. But yeah, I mean, to me, it seems like that's what it's going to definitely be. We suspect it was, they got something that they didn't want. That wasn't what they were after. But, it was laced because of where we're at with, again, back to politics, the lies, if this stuff was legal and it could be regulated, it wouldn't have to happen. And I say that with any drug. If someone's going to get it, they're going to get it. And if the government keeps saying, no, we're just going to make it illegal, people's going to keep getting it through the black market and, nefarious means, and shit like this is going to happen. Some countries do have it all legal, or it's not necessarily legal. Like you can go get it 7-Eleven, but it's not illegal. It's not made illegal. And so if people have a meth problem, they can go to a meth clinic and they can get clean needles and they can get the actual drug and maybe get some help and talk about why they're doing it, instead of just, having to die from something laced or go to prison or all the bullshit we do here in this country. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Kobe Bryant's statue was just revealed. I think his wife, Vanessa, sat on stage and she talked about it. And I love what she said when she was up there. She's like,
it goes without saying that today is an especially sad day for us, since Kobe and Gigi aren't here for what is supposed to be an incredibly joyous moment in Kobe's legacy. And for the record, Kobe picked the pose you're about to see. So if anyone has any issues with it, tough shit.
I think everybody probably remembers where they were and what they were doing when they heard about his plane crash, and how devastating it was. And to the sports fans all over the world, the Lakers fans, just the Kobe fan. I was just a Kobe fan. I'm not even a basketball fan so much. I don't watch it regularly, but I've always been touched by him because he's an entrepreneur and I'm really into that type of mindset. And he just is so incredibly smart. So whenever he comes on and he's like talking or being interviewed, I will stop and I will listen every time, because I feel like he has something to say that is so relevant to, what we are all going through or thinking, or just obstacles in your life. And I have such respect for him, even though I'm not a huge basketball fan.
Yeah. His drive was unmatched, like unparalleled.
So those were the things that I saw this week as far as hot topics. And I know I came to this episode saying I don't have any hot topics. I was wrong.
But you thought so.
Subscribe.
Oh, like and subscribe so you can hear our political updates. Or mine, I guess I should say.
It's hers.
We should come up with a
political
topic. I mean, like a segment name. What would it be?
It's going to be your segment.
Okay, I got to think about it. I don't know.
Feel free to put a name in the comments on what you think we should call Phoebe's political cannabis segment. Anything that ties into that. And okay, I'm going to be racking my brain. We'll think about it. So anyway, thank you guys for being here. If you're watching this right now, hit the like button. I forgot to tell you, Phoebe, I think I'm going to change the episode day. I think I'm going to put it on Thursdays. We're going to say every other Thursday. And then if we may do a surprise drop somewhere in the middle of those.
There you go.
That's how I view it.
Yep. And now we'll know by next week if I'm going to be a happy or sad camper on the next episode.
Good luck to your team, Phoebe. Good luck. And good luck to the Taylor Swifties out there. And I could care less who really wins, honestly. I'm there for the wings and the Super Bowl ads. So
there you go.
See you soon.
Holler.
This episode of Code Green Plant was sponsored by Simply Vibin LLC. Code Green Plant is a Simply Vibin production hosted by Christy Chanel along with her co-host Phoebe James. This podcast is not intended to be used for medical advice and is solely the opinion of the host. Please consult your physician. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Want more? Visit www.simplyvibin.com. And a special thank you to the core group of people who helped with the creation of the Code Green Plant podcast. We appreciate you simply vibing with us.
Code Green Plant.